Guys, I'd like to talk to you about over-unders. Um, some of you might have already had it in your training programs, and some of the might come up in your future training programs. And it's really important to understand what over-unders are, what they do for your trainings, and how to approach them to get the maximum bang for the buck out of it. So basically, we're looking at an over/under that I did about when was this this past Thursday, um, and this was a tough one. So basically, the structure of over/unders is it basically hovers around your threshold power, and so you basically do maybe 1 minute at 95% of your threshold, and then you either build up to 105%, or you go straight into 105%, and it just alternates between over threshold and under threshold, over threshold, under threshold, hence the name over unders. This is an extremely effective way of accumulating a lot of the time around your threshold power, and this is definitely not a easy workout. Um, when over-unders start to feel easy, your FTP is definitely underestimated, and you can probably nudge it up a little bit. So we're looking at an over-under here that I did. So let's just look at this interval. If we zoom in here, what you notice is that your power actually fluctuates a lot. So what you want to do is basically you keep on the target. And there are two distinctive parts of over-unders, the unders, which is here, and overs, which is here. And there are some ramps here as well. So when you approach these over-unders, what you want to do is be really calm and collected around these 95% valleys. And then as it builds up, still be very, very calm. Just because if you look at this, there are five little intervals that's separated by valleys at 95% and 95%, right? So you want to be really calm and collected. Usually after this first part, 4 minutes in, you're like, oh, this is good. And you might feel a little bit not in it. That's okay because you're still warming up. And then, the second one would be a little bit better. But the thing here is to always watch out for this part. So after you start either dropping down from 105% to 95%, or you ramped it down, just watch out for these little dips that could happen here. And you want to get back on top of your rhythm, get back on top of your breathing, so that your lactate acid is getting processed. So this is probably time to explain the physiology of it. So basically, when you're working over your threshold, there's going to be accumulation of lactic acid in your blood. And lactic acid and lactate are the things that kind of slow you down. That's what one of the theories that says creates fatigue, right? So basically, over-unders are ways to train yourself to be fatigue resistant, i.e. you can do a lot of over and unders. So here, what you find is actually on these down valleys, this is the most beneficial because your body can process lactate and turn them into energy. You want to breathe and keep on top of your breathing and keep your cadence. So your cadence should be anywhere between 80 to 100 depending on what it's like when you're going at threshold. I recommend 90 to 100 when you're trying to go full gas. So here, as you can see, you want to be pretty steady, and your heart rate can actually come down a little bit. I don't recommend using heart rate as a monitoring tool, but it's a good tool to gauge your body's reaction to what you're putting it through. Hence, here, if the heart rate comes down a little bit, that means you're kind of recovered a little bit. So we can see it's 180, and then down here, 180. So I wasn't really recovered at all. But then, you could hit it again right around 180, and it goes really high for me. That's like 183. That's probably my highest. Um, yeah, so you just want to be aware. And if you look at the cadence line here, it's pretty straightforward. You don't want to have a lot of spikes up and down. Uh, and that's the easiest way to get you through intervals. And in between intervals, really, it's just help you to mentally reset. Uh, so just take the opportunity to take a breather, eat, drink, eat here. So your body can digest it by the next interval hits. You're ready to go. And obviously, second interval and third interval, something interesting here. So these are really long. These are 3 by 20 minutes thresholds, basically. And your mind at some point is just going to explode. So I probably exploded right here. But make sure it's okay. Make sure that you come down and collect yourself, eat, drink a little bit, get back on the bike as fast as you can, and then just keep doing the workouts. Remember, the workouts are focused on time in zone. So as long as you do them for the correct amount of time, um, you accumulate those minutes and in the correct zones, and then your body is going to adapt, and you're going to get stronger from it. So over-unders are definitely one of the harder workouts in trainer road libraries and harder workouts in general for cyclists. But it's so effective in getting you accustomed to riding right at your FTP, and that'll help you to raise your FTP, and that'll help you to become a faster cyclist. So with that said, that is it on over-unders.